Just starting by looking at the parameters of her brows currently, because I know I have to work within this shape. And if this was her natural brow, I would still be doing the same thing. Her arch is to here. I would build a line across. The top of her head is there. The bottom of her brow is there. That's standard. Then I'm going to do a middle line here for the center of her face. You want to make sure that line is in the center of both eyebrows. I used to just focus on the tip of the nose, but a lot of people have crooked noses, like, smashed in. So you can't always go by the center of the nose. You can look at the cupid's bow, center of the chin, but I'm just going based on like the center of the forehead and then in between the eyes. And for her eyebrows are already, pretty far in. She has hair in there as well. So I'm just gonna build right where her hair naturally starts. What I recommend you doing is asking your guests, when you fill in your brows, do you bring your brows in closer or do you leave them where they are naturally? If she's like, oh, I like where they are naturally, then just start where her brows are. Don't worry about trying to line it up and move this one in, because she's gonna feel like one is in too far if she likes where her natural brows begin already. So just keep them where they naturally are, as long as they're not like out here, like something crazy like that. Like we gotta make some adjustments. Or they're too far in. If they're too far in, you need to bring them out. And if you're going to base it around a person's, like trying to balance them, you wanna look at the corner of the eye. So not this part, the very corner of the eye. I go like right past that, where that little dip is. I don't know what that's called, whatever y'all want to call it. Where you put your makeup, when you put your water, the water line. Yes, inner corner highlight. That's what I'm gonna call it. Yes. The tear. Well, see, I say the tear duct, but technically the tear duct is inside. So I'm like, yeah. So yeah, we'll just say the puddle, the pocket. The inner corner highlight. So that's where I like to build the front of my brows.
So you're basically taking a thread that has makeup on it?
So you have two options. You can buy pre-inked thread, which I have the link to all this information on my site. You just click it and it'll take you to this, and it already has ink on it. Or you can purchase just basic thread, white thread. I recommend you get white thread, and then you mark it with your China pencil, which you guys have in your bag. Okay? So you would just mark it, and then you would use that to build the brow. Okay? All right, so take a look at me straight. Close. So I use the outer corner of her iris, which is the black part, the little center part, open again. So the outer corner of her iris, close, got me right here. The other point is outer corner of the pupil, would be right here, close. So sometimes you need to use the outer corner of the pupil. Sometimes you need to use the outer corner of the iris. Based on where her eyebrow is, I would stay with the iris. Pupil, iris. Yes, and I kind of am gonna go in between both, but I wouldn't be all the way out here because this is a little too far out. Her eye is pretty small, so having her arch this far out is not necessary on top. All right, and then the very bottom would be the outer corner of the eye. But she has a previous tattoo, so I have to go all the way out to where her previous tattoo is. Okay? All right, and since I already have an easy frame, I'm just going to go around and connect. So I'm going to go from this line is the A, this line where the arch is the B, and the tail is the C. So I'm going to go from A to B, or here at the arch. And then to find the placement of the tail, you use the tragus. Okay? You always want to build around the tragus because you want the eyebrow to kind of come back like this, not down. So we're going to do the bottom tragus to that line. And then we'll do the top tragus to get the bottom part of that line. So this is we're connecting this on this C, or this tail line. You're going to build from the bottom tragus to the top. And then you go top tragus, connect it where this intersects here, and you'll do the bottom part of the tail, okay? And then I'll connect it back to the head, okay?
Perfect directions on the board.
Okay, now she does have some remnants of her old tattoo outside, so I will need to include that, but if she didn't, this would just be the basic design. All right, so what I'm gonna do, close your eye for me. I'm just gonna build it up a little bit more so we include her old tattoo. And I built one eyebrow because it's easier to build one, get it the way you want it to look, and then do the other one as opposed to working back and forth over and over again to build two. You build your guide, and then
Is that alcohol on the spot?
this is you can use alcohol. This is grain soap.
How long did it take you to get brown nothing down, Maya?
Brown nothing will never be down.
That's comforting.
It's
Yeah,
really
that's good. Because sometimes I'm like, damn, I took an hour. Are you
I
kidding?
know, me too. I'm
It
like,
shouldn't take you an hour for every guest, but there are times when it's taking me an hour.
Is there a reason?
Okay.
Yes, a lot of times it's my older guests. The older guests have a lot of skin challenges. It's just, you just kind of cringe when they come because their muscles are moving the whole time.
Yeah, and if you have any deep wrinkles or anything like that.
Yes, it's just really hard to balance it when you're constantly moving. I can't, it's hard. And then you can't just, you want to just say, okay, well, I'm just going to put this one where I see it at and this one, but then they're just so off, you don't want to take a photo. So I think my older guests, the easiest guests are people who like have something very specific that they want and they draw it every day. I have them draw it themselves. So that's always nice because I don't have to do it. And then the high-low brows can take a little bit of time depending on what you need to do.
How do you correct a shape for someone who's non-symmetrical?
So most people are non-symmetrical. So just know that you'll be dealing with that very often. I balance based on which brow they like the most.
Okay.
And then I build the other brow around the brow that they favor. Makes it easier than just trying to guesstimate. And then what if they don't like it? Because one brow you're going to have to raise a little bit higher, and the other you're going to have to lower a little bit. Okay.
And then what about those clients that have like one that natural high arch where they're like one's so arched and then the other one's just like normal? Because I recently had a client like that and I'm like, this brow just is naturally arched. Like it's just so high
It's
up.
the
Like
muscle. It has to do with the muscle. And even when you bring it down, it just like jumps up.
Yeah.
So you have to cut into that arch. Because there's no way you're going to bring that other eyebrow up there. It's like you would have to basically end up with 3 eyebrows if you did that.
yeah.
Because it's so high. So you have to like kind of cut into where that really high part of the arch is. It kind of, it's hard to describe, but I'll show you on the board. Just remind me. So how does that look? Do you want it any fuller? This is like just really going straight around your existing tattoo.
I think I'm okay with that.
See, okay, you about to have a tattoo. You were okay? You want it to be thicker in the head? It feels too archy, it's too thin, it's too thick. Well, it can't be too thick.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
It's good.
Okay. Alright. I might have to adjust your head a little bit because I think that this side is a little thicker.
Yeah,
Between here to here.
Mm-hmm.
So I might have to thicken that just a tad, but I'll draw that out.
Okay.
Okay, so let me just do your perimeter there.
She had great skin too, so that was good.
Yeah. All right. So
Proof.
then what I do from here is I'll put the forehead ruler on.
That I don't use any of that.
I love
The forehead roller. I feel like I just never get it straight.
So with this one, I don't really concentrate on getting straight because I know that that can be a challenge. I really, because one gonna be a little higher, it doesn't really matter to me because I'm only using it to measure the vertical line.
Okay.
So if this is a little lower, it doesn't matter. It's still on the same vertical line. Cause yeah, and that's why I prefer this straight one as opposed to the curved one. So you're just gonna measure everything up wherever the tail ends. You'll mark it over here, wherever the arch is, wherever the head is. And then you just find those same spots on this side. And of course, there'll be a slight difference in the head because of where her tattoo is. Okay.
We'll just see. So this is important to understand. So the face is generally like this. The left side is closer in to the nose and the right side is further away from the nose. So you will often find that you have to bring the hair in closer on the right side and the left side is usually filled in the front, which is the same thing kind of like she has, huh? It's like the face is pushed to the side. It's like, it's weird. Yeah, like we're all laying on that side. But so you have to be careful when you are like doing the centering of the face and bringing the hair in on the right side. And let me tell you why. Because if you don't adjust the placement of the arch, it's going to be really long from A to the B, from the head to the arch. Because so it's naturally here, but you're bringing it further in to match where it is on the left side or the right side, whatever. And then you are keeping the arch where it naturally is, so then it elongates this part. So one brow will feel natural because this is where the natural brow is on the left side. But on the right side, you've made all these adjustments and made it longer because you're bringing the head in further. So one brow will often look like it's further back into the hairline, like the arch. So you actually have to move everything over. So you have to adjust, move the arch in, as well as the head, as well as the tail. If you're going to just adjust the head, like you can't just do that. Have to adjust everything else. But that looks weird because look, her brow bone is centered here and you're moving it closer. That's ugly. So a lot of times I don't really move the right brow in very much anymore, like very, very minor. And I started running. It's weird because it's like after years of doing things a certain way, then all of a sudden you get this cluster of people who start complaining about this one thing that you've always done and no one else said anything. So it's like, okay, it caused me to think about what was happening. And so when just try to keep the right side, maybe bring it in a little bit, like a few little swipes to just add some shade there, but not really heavy on the side that you're bringing in closer. I'm sorry, it's the wind. It's it's better to wait until the touch up. And the reason is because they need time to adjust. It's a lot. You've changed a lot that's going on with their face. It's darker. And it can be really jarring for a lot of people. Now, again, the Instagram girl is one person, but your average client isn't gonna be that woman. So you want to make sure that you're kind of phasing things in and let them tell you, oh, well, make my brows darker now. Oh, make them thicker, make them fuller. Oh, extend my tail. Oh, do this and do that. It's easier than if you're trying to push that on them and they're constantly like, you know, it's too much for me. I didn't even want my brows like that. And then she told me I should get them like that. So let them kind of guide you into where you always wanted them to be anyway, if that makes any sense. All right, so here. If you have any questions, feel free
to ask other questions.
This off topic, but how do you like that ruler
For the
they
nose?
did was supposed to be?
Yeah, so
Right,
I'm not-
right.
I'm not gonna say anything, the silence is
That's right.
saying.
Okay,
gotcha.
The silence is saying.
I've actually never really seen her work, but I know her name.